Okay, great. Thank you very much for joining us today on our great webinar with Gerry Foster. I'm a CEO of Discover New You. Discover New You is the only advisory VIP leadership platform, which actually introduced the coaching lifestyle system for all VIP leadership people around the world, especially the one who want to transform and change the companies for very successful, very prosper growth, especially now in the very fast changing environment where only the people who adapt to this changing environment will prosper and grow. And we work with different speakers around the world from different industry, different partners and coaches. One of the topic is branding. Gerry Foster is our expert from Los Angeles, branding evangelist. He actually work with clients around the world, 100,000 clients from 600 different countries. So he will join today our webinar and give you some hints and education in terms of brand. So the topic is brand like your life depends on it. So Gerry, go for it. You can go.
All right. Thank you. I have no idea what she said, but I'm sure it was nice.
It was
when Eliza invited me to address you this morning, I was hyena happy and peacock proud. I'm coming to you from Los Angeles, California. It is a little after 8 o'clock here in the morning, but I am tickled pink because we're going to talk about how to brand you, because it's all about your brand. And more importantly, how to brand yourself like your life depends on it. Said another way, I'm going to share with you 5 sacred ways to create a world-class, magnificent brand that will show your market how special you are, make more of an impact in social media, captivate customers, even if you already have a logo, website, videos, and other stuff that people can see. So make no mistake about it, what I'm going to be sharing with you is how to get more mileage from your marketing. We'll talk more about that in a moment. So one of the key things right now is to do what? Don't put a mask on your business. Don't social distance your brand. If anything else, this is the time to do what? Scale up in terms of making yourselves more visible, because as we all know, during this pandemic and these very crazy times, everybody's online. And so the idea now is to strengthen your presence, because you've got to be able to, write this down, stand out, get noticed, and be remembered for offering something that people can really get excited about. So let's talk about how you can brand yourself, because in the world of branding, there's 5 types of brands. You can brand a company, a product, a service, a nonprofit, or yourself as a personal brand. And of course, that's what we're going to be focusing on today. So I've got a free gift giveaway. Eliza said, give my people something special at the end. So I'll make sure that you guys get to leave with some kind of parting gift. Is that okay? We'll get to that later on. But right now, I'm here to serve you. I have a servant's heart. And I'm here to show you how to make sure that what you put out from this point forward is something that can literally make an incredible difference in the market that you serve, as well as a contribution to the people that you are serving. Because make no mistake about it, there is nothing more important than your brand. Nothing. Your brand is your reputation. It's the experience that you are offering your clients. It's your legacy. It's the thing that people prefer in this brand conscious world that we live in. You turn on the TV, it's all about your brand. You go online, it's about your brand. Newspapers, offline, it's all about your brand. Celebrities talk about your brand. So why is that? Because with a brand, you know, write this down, what you're going to get from that brand. And one of the reasons why there's such a preference around the world in this whole thing about having a brand is because the brand is what determines the actions that you want people to make. So one of the questions that I think each of you should ask yourselves right now is, what is the greatest contribution you can make to your clients, a community that you serve, the people, the earth, whatever, with the least amount of effort, the effect of your engagement that will cause the greatest impact? You see, when you have a strong brand, you are able to create what I call a ripple effect. which means that you can have that kind of impact in terms of your, not only your sales, but in terms of the people that you're looking to market to. So the first law is to be the honey, not the fly. Oh, what do I mean by that? Honey attracts, bees chase. One of the key reasons why you want to make sure that you're putting out a brand as opposed to services, as opposed to a product, is because when you have a strong brand, particularly those who are marketing yourselves as a personal brand, is that if your brand is configured a certain way, then business will come to you rather than you having to go after it. Now, I want to do a quick little quiz, Elijah, of everybody. I want everybody in the chat box to answer a question for me. And it doesn't matter where in the world you're located. The question is, in this whole thing called there are 2 million brands vying for our attention. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's all about our brands. My question is, what was the last brand that you bought? Put that in the chat box, would you please? It could be anything. It could be a loaf of bread. It could be a service. It could be a product. What was the name of that brand that you bought? Here we go. Look at this. Coffee. Well, what kind of coffee? Was there a name? Nike, Apple. Oh, now we're getting there. Oh, some special kind of food. Ooh, Riscato. Ooh, Starbucks coffee. Ooh, look at that. Look at that, Eliza. Nuva, milk products, right? Any others? Valentino. Oh, you got, oh, Joanne. Oh, that's Joanna. She's got good taste. Look at that. Look at these brands. Okay. Heineken. There you go. Hey, I like, I love Heineken. Right? Now, the second question is, what was the reason you chose that brand? Write that in there, please. You chose that brand for a reason. Because what was it? What could be anything? Could be the way it felt. There you go. The flavor, the quality, the taste, anything else? Sharon says, I trusted it when we had other products, so it works for them. Ursula said there was no other alternative, so I had to buy this one. What were some other reasons? Popular in design, right? Yeah. It could be because of what you could see, taste, touch, smell, or hear, right? Now, here's what's interesting about how you all answered this question. What all of you have in common in terms of the products that you chose is one word. I'd like you to write this word down. And that word is because. You chose that brand because. So in branding, in order for business to come to you, instead of you having to chase after it, you have to give people reasons to choose you over other choices. Does that make sense? And so a big part of branding, particularly with a personal brand, is to nail down what is your because going to be. I read online recently that there are over, now this is before the pandemic, 1.7 billion websites on the World Wide Web. 1.7 billion. And who knows how many social networks there may be. And so here you are, you're out there, you've got your business, you've got your online business, and you're doing everything that you can, as I said earlier and alluded to stand out, get noticed, and be remembered. And you're like, hey, notice me, pay attention to me. And so one of the biggest challenges that we're finding around the world, it doesn't matter what country you're in, it doesn't matter what stage your business is in. One of the biggest challenges, write this down, is that so many owners are what? They're not standing out, they're blending in. And so in the midst of this crazy, crowded, turbulent marketplace is a challenge for most owners, particularly those of you who offer services, any kind of skill, any kind of talent, any kind of ability, any kind of gift to the world. One of the biggest challenges is that for many owners, they feel as if they are invisible. Maybe some of you have felt that no one's paying attention to you. Maybe some of you have felt that the marketing that you're doing is not getting the responses that you're looking for. And so the question becomes, how in the midst of all of this craziness that's going on online now, particularly, how can you stand out amongst the crowd? And so the other problem that's facing so many people as a result of what's going on in the world is that people come to their own crazy conclusions about what it is that you do. False perceptions occur. Have any of you ever found that just by telling someone what it is that you do for a living, they come up with a crazy conclusion about what it is that you provide? Raise your hand if that's you. For example, I'm a real estate agent. Oh, okay. I put you into the real estate pile. I'm a financial advisor. I put you into the financial planning pile. I'm a life coach. Oh my goodness, another one of those. I put you in the life coaching pile. And so what's happening today is that people are, the consumer, the people that you're trying to sell and market to, are coming up with these crazy ideas about what it is that you have to offer that should get them to do business with you. And so the key today is to do what? Write these words down. By the way, I used to teach at the college level for 10 years. So once you turn 21, I tell everybody, write this down, okay? So don't, Elijah will tell you, you'll get used to it. So one of the things today is that you have to seize control over how people perceive you so that they see you the way you want them to see you. Does that make sense? Because unless you brand yourself, somebody else will. That's the reality. So you've got to seize control over those perceptions. The fact of the matter is that as consumers, we know we have what? We have choices. Now here, I'm in America, obviously. I'm in Los Angeles, LA, in case you're wondering where on the planet I'm located. And here's the thing about me. I don't cook. Now, I took some online cooking lessons earlier this year. I don't know if I told Eliza this, but I took some cooking lessons. But I'm a takeout and delivery guy. And so here in America, we have two major delivery brands. There's Grubhub and Uber Eats. Now, there's others, but I choose and prefer Grubhub. Nothing wrong with Uber Eats, but I prefer Grubhub. Maybe some of you prefer Coke over Pepsi or Pepsi over Coke. Maybe some of you prefer Nike over Adidas. Before the pandemic, when I would, here in America, we have rideshare, right? I assume you have it where you are. I'm not quite sure. But here we have two major brands in rideshare. There's Lyft and Uber. I'm a Lyft guy. Nothing wrong with Uber, but I prefer Lyft. So what's the point? The point here is that you have to generate what you see in the upper left-hand corner, which is called brand preference. You have to give people a valid, compelling reason to choose you over other choices. Because if not, you are doing what? You're going to blend in and not stand out. Write this down. I was born to stand out, not blend in. It's all about brand preference. You versus somebody else. Now, the second law is that you have to follow a certain sequence. For some of you, maybe what you're looking to do is to scale. You're looking for more clients, or you're looking to make a certain amount of more money, or maybe you are looking to have more impact. Maybe for some of you, what's important right now is moving forward, to up level, to accelerate your progress. Maybe for some of you, it's to go out there and have intense impact on the market you're serving. Whatever it may be, there's a certain sequence that you have to follow for you to achieve whatever your revenue goals may be. Now, before I share that sequence with you, you have to understand what a brand is. A brand is more than a logo. See, in the overall picture, there's 3 levels of branding. Level 1 is what's called strategic branding. Level 2 is visual branding. And then level 3 is something called social media branding that's emerged in recent years. So in level one, you're making sure that you've got all the key components put together on a solid foundation so that you have what's called a standalone brand. Very, very important for each of you. You must have what's called a standalone one-of-a-kind brand. And then as you're putting that together, your goal is to make sure that your brand, particularly those of you who are branding yourselves as a personal brand, you want to make sure that your brand has the strongest body, voice, and spirit possible. And then once that work is done, then you go to level two called visual branding, where the goal now becomes to do what? Bring your brand to life visually. So now you're doing your website work, putting together your social media campaigns, videos, online marketing, you're creating courses, you're doing all the things that need to be done to do what? Monetize your brand, but it's all anchored in the foundation so that you have synergy, so that when you get to level three called social media branding, and if you're doing anything through YouTube or if you're doing any kind of postings, your marketing is going to be more effective because it's anchored in a strong foundation. So when you think about it, a brand is more than what people can, than what you can see. In other words, let's take Coke and Pepsi. I doubt if the Coca-Cola drinkers prefer Coke because it's in the red can and the Pepsi people because it's in the blue can. It's what's inside the can that counts. So my question to each of you is, what's inside your can? Are you giving people reasons to choose you over other alternatives? And so the reason why a brand is simply more than a logo or anything pictorial or anything visual is because that in itself does not give you what's called a whole brand. No one's going to do business with you just because of your website, because of your color scheme, because of how great your photography is. And so nowadays, with everybody moving online, in the midst of all of this turbulent marketplace, you got to stand out, get noticed, and be remembered for doing what? Offering something unique so that you can then be rewarded for your individuality. So the key point here on law number 2 is to not put the cart before the horse. Okay? There's a certain sequence, and the sequence is brand, market, sell. It's always create your brand first and then market and sell the heck out of your brand. It's branding followed by marketing followed by selling. So if you were to draw a triangle on a sheet of paper, please, at the top of the paper, at the top of the triangle, write the word brand, lower left-hand corner, the word market, lower right-hand corner, the word sell. Brand, market, sell. It's a three-legged stool. If one leg is missing, if one leg is wobbly, if one leg is shorter than the other, then you're in trouble, right? But it also says that one leg is not more important than the other. Branding is certainly not more important than marketing. Marketing is not more important than selling. Selling is not more important than branding. They're equally important. However, the three have to come together, integrated a certain way to have the impact that you want. And I'm sure you would agree that makes sense. So how do I separate the three? The job of branding is to differentiate your company. The job of marketing is to get people to do what? Notice what makes you different. Pay attention to you and desire you. The job of selling is to get people to pay for that difference. Oh, Eliza, they missed it. Let me give it to you again. I'm coming from LA and it's 8 o'clock, it's early. The job of branding is to say to the world, there's nobody else like you. You feel in your heart that you've got something special to offer the world. That you've got something that people are going to find satisfying because it can solve a problem they have or help them gain what they're looking for. And the job of marketing is to do what? Draw awareness of that, get people to notice you, and then desire you. And then the job of selling is to pay for that. Oh, Eliza, let me try it one more time. Let me break it down this way because I'm coming to you from LA, okay? You know how we crazy Americans are. Branding will get you known, marketing will get you found, and selling will get you paid. Oh, you all missed it. They missed it, Eliza. You got to get found, you got to get known, and you got to get paid. Amen? Because we're all in business to do what? Be seen, be heard, and to make money. And so therefore, you cannot rely, for example, on marketing to be the main thing to scale your business. Because the marketing, if it's anchored in the strategic foundation of a strong, one-of-a-kind personal brand, world-class, top shelf, best at what you do, then your marketing is going to require fewer impressions to do what you needed to do. So therefore, $1 works like $5, and you get a higher return on your marketing investment. So what you don't want to do is put the tile down before the cabinets are up, okay? Brand, market, sell, all right? You don't put the walls up on the house before you install the plumbing. And I cannot tell you how many owners, and my specialty, as Eliza may have mentioned, I have no idea what she said in her introduction, my sweet spot is how to brand services, expertise. Because the way you go about branding yourself with services is very different than how you would brand a product. See, I have this iPhone, right? If I have a product, we can see, taste, touch, smell, or hear the product in advance. It's tangible. But when you're branding yourself, the consumer obviously cannot do what? They cannot test drive you in advance. They cannot sample you. And so therefore, you have to take this thing called your expertise, your intangible, and make it tangible in their mindset. But if you skip that step and jump straight to the marketing in terms of, oh, Gerry, I got to create a funnel. Oh, Gerry, I got to create my courses. Oh, Gerry, I got to get out here and do that and the other. It's probably not going to do what you needed to do. So you're wasting a lot of money spent on coaches or whatever, because it's not anchored in a strong brand. Which leads into law number 3. Uncover your unrivaled value. Ooh. One of the reasons I was thrilled and excited when Eliza invited me to speak to you is because she said, Gerry, these are special people. The folks that I will have you connecting with are one of a kind. And that rang true with me because I'm all about big branding. I'm all about showing you how to create a big brand and a strong message that sells so you can excite, delight, and ignite your market and make it easier to get customers. However, that requires that you are making the decision that you are what? You're going to put out something that's exceptional, that will make an exceptional difference, so that you can live an exceptional life. That's my purpose. That's my mission. And so the folks that I work with around the world are people who feel that, Gerry, I've got something extraordinary to offer people. And so if that's you, if you feel that you've got a gift, if you've got something that makes a tremendous difference with people, then you have got to make the decision that you're going to big brand yourself. You've got to make the decision now that you're not going to play small, you're going to play big. You've got to make the decision now that you're going to put something out into the world that says to your market that you're not like everybody else. Now, in branding, it's been shown that people don't pay for products or services. Pay very close attention to this slide. In fact, in branding, people don't pay for the brands themselves. Now, I don't know how much you know about my background, but I love to tell a quick story to folks that I was at a networking event about 25 or 30 years ago. There were 300 people in the room. This is before the internet. And the organizer said to the crowd, please stand up if you're in the same field that you majored in college. And I stood up with 2 people so 3 of us total out of 300. 3 people out of 300 stood up because we're in the same field that we majored in college. And so I'm not going to bore you with my credentials, but I went to a college out here in LA called University of Southern California, USC, earned 2 degrees, undergrad MBA degrees from the Marshall School of Business, majored in marketing, deep study and branding, graduate with honors, blah, blah, blah. I went to work for a company called P&G, Procter & Gamble. And for those of you who don't know much about P&G, they wrote the book on branding. And so I worked in the field of what's called brand strategy. within the context of brand management. And I was there helping to grow some of their laundry brands. And so I am technically what's called a brand strategist as opposed to a brand designer. And so just like someone who may own a house cleaning service says, I don't do windows. Well, I like to tell people I don't do logos, swag bags, tote bags, websites, and things that people can see, because great brands are built strategically and not visually. And so I worked at P&G, right, helping to grow some of their laundry brands. I worked in the citrus juice and drink industry, and I started my brand development and training company full-time in 1985. This is year 36 for me, 36 years. So yes, I was 10 years old. I started with a lemonade stand, okay? All right, just so you know. And dinosaurs were roaming the earth. And I'm very proud to say that over the last 30 plus years, I've helped over 100,000 small businesses from 600 different industries with their branding. Now, why do I share that? I share that because from this point forward, you really need to grab onto who's addressing you today. In the branding universe that I orbit in, you can Google this, I'm regarded as a bona fide branding guy, the real deal. And here in America, I read an article once, Eliza, which said that the average American changes their job 10 to 15 times in a lifetime. I've never done anything with branding my entire adult life. If I go back to college, I studied it. And I was an adjunct professor of branding, marketing, and advertising it for 10 straight years at 4 universities, evenings and weekends. So I'm kind of considered, you know, because there's a whole lot of people out there who say they do branding. Am I right? And then you talk to them, you find out, oh, you do logos. Oh, you do colors. Oh, you do photography. Oh, your idea of branding is let's shoot some videos and put them on Instagram. No, that's called pseudo branding. So I'm about to do a deep dive with you. Is that okay, Eliza? Do I have your permission? Because I want you all to grab onto this, because what I'm about to share with you can make a tremendous difference in your revenues sooner than later. Is that of interest to anybody? So here's the thing. People are not buying your expertise. They're not interested in your services. What people are paying for is one of 4 things. Number 1, can you solve a problem that I have? I've got this painful, annoying, aggravating problem. Can you make it go away? Number 2, can you provide me a better outcome? What do I mean? Well, this is what I'm currently doing. This is what I've tried before. This is what I'm thinking of doing. This is what someone else suggested that I do. You ever get some of those? So what I want to know from you, and I'm pretending to be a potential client for all you right now, okay, I'm a prospect. So what I need to know from each of you is, can you give me a better outcome? What I need to know from each of you is, what advantages do you offer versus other choices? So that's like someone saying, I'll make your kids smarter, or I'll take your company from here to there, right? It's giving people a better outcome versus what they're now considering. Are you with me? Number 3, can you perform a freaking miracle? I'm hurting right now. My family, my company, my team, myself. Can you turn my situation around? So this is called, in my culture, my world, miracle branding. And for some of you, your ideal client may be someone out there who's in a tough situation, and they're looking for you to address their pain, their problems, their concerns, their worries, their obstacles, their barriers, their fears, their frustrations. They're looking for you to turn their midnight into day. And it shows up in their eyes as if this is an impossible situation I'm in. So for those of you who are very, very good, and listen, I assume that each of you are good at what you do, or you would not be connected with Eliza. So I assume that you are good, very good at what you do. However, success in business today particularly because of the pandemic times that we live in, is not a function of how good you are at what you do. It's a function of how great you are at branding, marketing, and selling what you are good at doing so that people pay you to be good at what you do. Is anybody listening to me today? Don't tell me what your services are. I'm not interested in that. I want you to be tuned in to radio station WIIFM, What's in it for me? So if you're tuned in to station WYD, What You Do, as opposed to What's in it for me, I'm tuned out. You're not relevant to me. So speak to me about my situation. Can you turn things around? In other words, can you make the impossible possible so that it's no longer limited by my past? And I have a hunch that for some of you, this rings home true with you, that you are so gifted, so brilliant. So I'm asking you now to step into your power and ignite your power and be able to say to someone that I can make the impossible possible for you. And that's what people want to buy. Now, you know, Eliza, the extreme example of this is in miracle branding is when you have these brands that say stuff like, and this is where they sell the fantasy. Oh, I'll show you how to lose 20 pounds in 20 minutes. Oh, in 20 days, I'll show you how to get rid of belly fat in 10 days. I'll get rid of your migraine headache in 5 minutes. Men, use the ab machine and you can have a six-pack ab in 30 days, right? That's the fantasy of it, but you get my point. And the fourth thing that people pay for is some kind of emotional payoff. Think about this, everybody. I want you to imagine for a moment who your ideal client is. I want you to think for a moment, what types of clients are you looking for? Okay? Because each of you knows who your dream client is. They fit a certain picture, right? They fit a certain profile. Now ask yourself, do the people who come to you, is your ideal client coming to you because they are in pain and they want to get out of pain, avoid pain, or prevent the loss of something that's dear and important to them? Or are they pleasure seekers where their focus is more on what they can gain? So in this whole thing called an emotional payoff, think about it. There are certain negative emotions that people experience that maybe you can help them avoid. When I used to work at P&G, I used to co-manage a brand called Cascade Detergent. And here's what we would do. We would have someone reach into a dishwasher, hold up a glass to a light source and go, oh my God, spots. I can't put these glasses out. I've got company coming in 20 minutes. So what we found out is that what people were buying was not the brand Cascade. What they were buying was what we were saying, which is if you use Cascade, you don't have to be embarrassed by how your dishes look coming out of the dishwasher. And we created a whole branding campaign called No Embarrassing Moments. So for some of you, some of your ideal clients are dealing with negative emotions that they want to have go away. Nobody wants to feel stressed out, overwhelmed, or confused. Think about what those negative emotions are, okay? And so for us, we had to do what? We had to take a look at how to pivot the brand and position it around being able to relieve people of those negative emotions. Are you with me? And so it would make sense, right, that if you could say to someone, I can solve problems for you, improve outcomes for you, perform some kind of miracle in your mind, or provide some kind of emotional payoff. And if you tie a ribbon around that, name it, frame it, blab it, and grab it, be in it and walk in it, it spells what to the buyer? It spells your undeniable benefit. Because today, during these tough times, you got to do what? You've got to sell the sizzle and not the steak. You've got to sell the bubbles, not the champagne. You've got to sell the whiff of the coffee, not the coffee. And so for some of you, maybe you're not being emotional enough in your branding and your messaging. If I go to your website, if I look at your words, if I hear how you communicate, are you making a heart connection? or is it too much of a head connection? So ask yourself, where's the opportunity for you right now to scale your company? Great brands swim in what's called untapped market space, blue ocean market space, where you're putting something out into the world that the world has never heard or seen before. So ask yourself, when it comes to your ideal customer, your dream client, what are they sick and tired of putting up with? What's not working that they want to have work better? What would they like to change for the better? And then take your brand strategically, right? And pivot it and anchor it and position it to be known for that. Are you with me? Okay. So this is where everybody, Eliza, right now should put their hand up like this and go ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Because that's the game. Great brands swim in what's called open market, blue ocean, market space, known for something that they cannot get anywhere else. Because think about it. If someone comes across your website and they come to the conclusion, I can get the same thing somewhere else, they put you in red ocean, which means they commoditize your expertise. They labeled you as being generic. So you went from being Evian bottled water to a bottled water. You went from being a Chiquita banana to a banana. You went from being Gillette to a regular razor blade. You're just a penguin in the group. You're just a bird in the flock. But brands like Nike and Starbucks have shown us that the products they offer are less important than the brands that they market and sell. That's the key. So how do you do this? An essential part when you have a personal brand is to know what are called your core differentiators. What people want to know from you, write this down, everybody, is how you are different and why are you better? Those are the two burning questions that a prospect has. If they land on your website, come across any kind of platform from you, they want to know one of two things. How are you different? Why are you better? How are you different? Why are you better? Now, my question is, look at this. What is your own unique value? A twist to what you do that will give you your pioneering edge. Where people see you as being in a class of your own, top shelf, best in class panache. Okay? Because I've learned from being in business 30 plus years, there's 3 levels that you can play at. Me too, me special, me only. I'm throwing this in for free, Eliza. If you are a Me Too brand, the perception is you're just like everybody else. You're just another penguin in the group. Like I said, you're just another slice in the loaf, which means you have to compete on price, which means that everybody wants to know how much you charge, what's your fee, blah, 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 blah. So they see you as an imitator. This next level is called Me Special. Now that's for some of you who may be saying to me, oh no, Gerry, I'm different. I'm not like everybody else. Really, prove it to me. Which means that you have to do what? Be relevant. You have to be looked upon as having something that is totally unique and distinct. And here in America, that impacted around the world, we had brands that came out that were rock star brands, one of a kind, class of their own brands, that all of a sudden did what? They went from being honey to being the fly because they lost their relevance. Does the name MySpace ring a bell with anybody? What happened to MySpace? What about Blockbuster? Do you guys have Blockbuster where you are? Blockbuster was a rock star brand, and then Netflix came along here in America. AOL, BlackBerry, rockstar, one-of-a-kind brands. And the third level is called Me Only, and that's the level you want to play at, where you can say, I'm an innovator and not an imitator. So the key thing here, is to make sure that you know what differentiates you. So I'm just going to run through a few, okay, just real quick. You can read the questions. I'll say them out loud to get you to start thinking, honey, 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 so business comes to you instead of you having to chase after that. Is that of interest to you? First question, could you offer an innovative tool or a truly unique delivery system or process? Maybe for some of you, instead of offering services, how about you take your services and you transform it into some kind of system or process or method that's framed a certain way from a branding standpoint so that you achieve what's called more buy-in that ends up being that thing that you do that gives people a reason, remember that word from the beginning, a reason to choose you because nobody else has your system. And that becomes your signature, whatever, that you scale quickly. Okay? So by the way, what I'm sharing with you all are the things that people do that are creating $1 million brands within 12 months or if not shorter or longer. Okay? So grab onto this, everybody. All right? Secondly, could you emphasize that you provide what your ideal customer places the highest value on? In other words, what matters most to your customer? All that matters is what the customer thinks, right? Where do they place their highest value? Is it on your level of quality, how convenient it is to do business with you, how reliable you are, how you serve them, how fast you are? So you have to find out what value really means to them so you are most relevant. And in my 30 plus years of working with folks, so many people are out there saying through their websites and through their messaging, well, guess what? I do A, B, and C. And the customer goes, well, great, but I want D, E, and F. You blew it. Look at that next one. What could you offer that a competitor cannot offer? Oh, my goodness. You've got to be able to say, write this down. You've got to be able to say or start off sentences like this. What sets me apart from others is, what I do different is, what I provide that others in my space do not is. You have got to be able to drive home what is it that sets you apart, right? So that they see you as being unique and distinct. Could you provide a guarantee or a promise that no other company can make? You guys want to have what's called a statement of mastery. A knock your socks off irresistible promise is probably a couple of paragraphs long that says, when you work with me, you're going to get bam, bam, bam. Here in America, years ago, a pizza chain called Domino's, they used to say, if the pizza's not there in 30 minutes, it's free. Right? Now, nobody cared about the taste of the pizza. All they want to know is they're going to get there in 30 minutes. Could you specialize in serving a particular industry, a certain target audience, a customer of a certain size? What about certain specific customer challenges or problems? Could you say I'm a specialist in these areas? Are you with me? Could you stress that you produce not commonly achieved results? See, what people are buying from you, write this down, are called required outcomes. Because a brand is a promise. A brand is, that's not a logo, right? A brand is a promise of an experience. So the experience that they're paying for from you is that bullet point, which is, can you give me what I'm looking for and how you're going to make me feel in the process of that? Look at the next one. Could you play up how you look, how you sound, how you act differently than your competition? Could you distinguish yourself by providing a very distinctive way of servicing your customers that nobody else is? Think Amazon. Oh my God. Think freaking Amazon. Does anybody remember what it was like ordering online before Amazon came along? Oh, okay. Thank you for your order. Okay. What was it, Eliza? 3 to 5 weeks for delivery? Amazon Prime. Oh, it'll be here tonight. I just ordered it 20 minutes ago. It'll be there tonight. Okay. So maybe the way you service your customer is unlike no other. So in other words, be a me only brand. You got to be able to say, I'm the only humma that does humma. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. That's the key for everyone. Because if they see you as being me too, or me special and not relevant, then you're no longer going to stand out from the rest. And the key today is to stand out, because unless you are distinct, you risk being extinct. That's the reality. You have to choose, are you going to stand out or blend in? And you back it all up with your secret sauce, that special thing that you do, that system, that process, not services, but put together in a certain way that can make you rich. And there are folks all over the place, thought leaders, speakers, coaches, trainers, consultants, people who have incredible services and talents and skills like yourself, who understand how excited people can be when they see you've got something thrilling and original. Back in the day in America, we used to have something called the Colonels. Now it's called KFC, known for what? The original secret recipe. That was the reason people chose it. What was it? A magical blend of 11 herbs and spices. We have a gasoline brand in America called Chevron. Chevron says we're different. Why? Because we have Techron. What the hell is that? Well, Techron allows you to get better mileage because all gasoline is the same. And they differentiate with their additives called, in this case, Chevron, so you have a happier car. And then Bounty, P&G, says on the TV commercial, Bounty, the quicker picker-upper, let the spills begin. And then Eliza, they split open the paper towel right on the screen and they say, Bounty is 2 times more absorbent than any other paper towel because we've got something called trap and lock technology. And I sit there and go, oh, okay, nobody else has that. So everyone, that's what I'm saying to each of you. What is your version of Techron? What is your version of 11 herbs and spices? What's your version of trap and lock technology? So that people have a reason to believe that you're not like everybody else, so that you can scale and make a difference. Well, this has been fun. I've enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys got value. My free gift is be a big brand. If you go to gerryfosterbranding.com/claim-gift, you can put that in the chat box if you'd like. Eliza, love to give that to you. And it's some videos, big brand video series, very cool. But I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm a giver, not a taker. So feel free to go ahead and grab onto that. Okay. So thank you for your time. And it's been my honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gerry. I don't know, do you hear me or not? But is there any questions for Gerry? So we can ask him now.
Can't hear you.
I'll
look in the chat box if you want to say something.
So please write and he can answer any questions according to branding.
Thank you, everybody. Oh, thank you. Really good. Oh,
yeah.
Flattery will get you everywhere with me. This is great. Thank you, Sharon and Ursula. Thank you, Alexandre. Maybe I should just call you Alex. Oh, you guys are very kind. Thank you so much. Ursula said, are there enough people old enough for MySpace? I know. I know. It became irrelevant. Oh, yes, very nice.
I'm not looking for a personal brand. Okay.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, put them in the chat box.
Yeah, put the question in the chat. Yeah.
I can't hear anybody. Ursula, Gerry, I'm trying to translate this to B2B and I'm not looking for my personal brand. Yeah, remember, Ursula, you can have, there's 5 types of brands. This is for you, Ursula. You can brand a company, a product, a service, a nonprofit, or yourself. So the insights that I gave you just now would apply to any of those 5, okay? So if you want to brand your company, it's the same process. Does that make sense? Ursula? Daniela, Gerry, sometimes it's difficult to identify the ideal client. Yeah, here's my feedback for you, Daniela. Great question. you want to take a look at what is it that people are buying from you. Now, remember, when you're profiling your ideal client, you can do it from 3 angles. Let me throw this in for free. It's who, where, and why. The who has to do with you asking yourself, who is your ideal client from a demographic standpoint, okay? Are they of a certain age, sex, income, ethnicity, nationality, married, single, in business, employed? If so, job title, what kind of business are they on, blah, 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 blah. Okay, pretty basic. And then where are your clients coming from? Your brand could be global, right? But the key thing for you is, why are they coming to you? And so when you have the difficulty trying to your ideal client, it could be because you haven't focused on what are called psychographics. You remember I said earlier, are they pain avoiders or are they pleasure seekers? So I want you to think about, where has your business been coming from? Did they come to you because they were in pain and they want to get out of pain, or they're looking to avoid pain, or they wanted to prevent the loss of something dear and important to them? Does that make sense? Because I have a hunch that your ideal client is probably more around what's called psychographics, and we would have to nail down those pain points. Okay, make sense? By the way, everybody, I'm on WhatsApp. If any of you have, yeah, I mean, Eliza texts me all the time. So, so if any of you need to connect with me, I'm on WhatsApp, and I can answer all your questions. Fair enough? And this is my number on WhatsApp. Okay, that's a great question. But do you get where I'm coming from about that? Yeah, exactly. Now, Ursula, Jerry, I'm trying to translate this to B2B. Yeah. That's what I was saying. So Ursula, all of what we just talked about would apply definitely for B2B, because here, Ursula, write this down. The ideal prospect for you is a company who feels that they are not well. Okay? Write this down, Ursula. Think about this. What is their biggest complaint? Because remember, people don't buy brands. They don't buy products or services. What they buy is what your product or service will do for them. So Ursula, what are they sick and tired of putting up with? What are they trying to change that they presently cannot change? What would they like to have work for the better? Does that make sense? And then position your brand and yourself or your company as being what? Preeminent, and your ability to handle those issues for them. So that's when I showed you all the laundry list of core differentiators. One of the ones that I had on there as a bullet point had to do with, is there a required outcome? Are there certain things that they're looking for? All right, does that make sense? So that's a B2B thing. So Ursula, connect with me and we can probe that more, okay? And by the way, if you connect with me, I have a, I should throw this in because Eliza took it. I have a online assessment tool that I created where you can muscle test your brand. And if you connect with me, I'll get you connected with that. And in 3 to 5 minutes, you can see how strong your brand currently is in 25 core strategic big branding areas. So you can see where you're strong, where you're weak, or what the missing pieces may be. Okay. So text me at that number and I'll get you connected with that. Okay. Because it could be that there's some things that are, I'm like a doctor, right? I get to see what your numbers are. Because when you take my assessment, like a quiz, I'll get back to your numbers and then I can see exactly what's going on with your business. Okay. Oh, thank you for that call. You guys are great, man. Look at this. Yes. Yeah, you can also, Eliza said you can also connect me by email. Oh, Ursula just sent me a hug. Oh, Ursula, I felt your hug. I felt your hug. Ursula, where are you in the world? I got a hug from Ursula, Eliza.
Israel. She's from Israel. Jerry.
Israel. God bless you. I love it. I love it.
Any more questions to Jerry?
Group here, Eliza. Of course,
Thank
it'd be nice
you.
if I could hear you. But you know what? That could be on my
That's a
part.
good
You know,
one.
yesterday Microsoft updated my sound drivers. I think they screwed something up. I think it's them. So I'm going to have to look into that.
Any more questions to Jerry?
Yeah, so
Put in the
grab
chat.
the free gift. Text me through through WhatsApp. Gerry Foster with a G. I'll set you up with my quiz and we can go from there. But I can hang out right now because, you know, I got a little free time here. Go ahead, Eliza. I'll turn it back over to you. I don't want to take over your group.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So if there's no more questions, I mean, you can always contact us or Jerry or through me, Discovering You. He's also on our platform for any additional sessions. You see, he's really experienced in terms of the branding. So there is a chance to have some more details into understanding your own brand and improving it. So if there is no more questions, thank you very much for joining today. Hope you will follow others, our webinars. And for June, we have other speakers. But if you are interested in Jerry, please let us know and we will send you this recording as well. So thank you very much, Jerry, and this is the free gift. Don't forget to take Gerry Foster Branding free gift. I put it in the chat as well, so I can send it per email as well if you wish. Yeah, great. No more questions, Jerry, so I think it's okay. So thank you very much for today, and thanks much, Jerry, for being our speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Eliza. Thank you.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.